many times a day do you Twitter?
I wouldn't even know.
Seriously.
It's a lot.
How many times an hour? It's like constant.
It is. It's constant. It's constant. I'm at work. I'm tweeting.
Yeah.
I go home. I'm tweeting from like my regular Twitter, and then it's like all.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's so bad.
How fun! Because you've been Twittering before we even actually went on.
Yeah, before we were just in our like little like pre-meeting.
Well, here's what I got to tell you.
Okay.
I'd love to have you back.
I would love to come back.
Too much fun. But here's the storyline that I'd like to have you back at.
Okay.
There's a hairdresser in town from a salon, and she's probably going to want to come in incognito, which we will allow here. We'll just turn the camera away. You know, you can use, you know, whatever name you want to. But she went to a training out of town, and part of her cosmetology training involved waxing. So you've heard about the Brazilian.
Yes.
We all know the Brazilian is like everything. Okay,
waxing
for women, everything.
Yeah.
So do you know where I'm going?
I'm nervous.
They had a live demonstration of a ball-zillion.
Oh.
For men. Ball-zillion. And it was just a hoot to hear her. And of course, she's a very serious professional.
They had a live professional?
They had a live performance.
No way.
Yes. And I'm just like pained hearing this. But I don't know if you even want to tackle that one.
But the thing is...
Aren't you glad I'm giving you fair warning? Because I tried to have her come in and bum rush you, so you're lucky. You got off the hook. We called her, but she had clients this afternoon.
Oh my God, I don't even know. I have no idea if that's even possible for me, but I work next door to a tattoo shop.
Oh my God.
We have lots of gentlemen who are dared and willing to do some of the crazy
They'll do any
things.
of the silly.
They will really do just about anything.
Yeah.
All the time. We get them to do it on a regular basis. So
they come in your shop and do
well,
some
yeah,
crazy
because the
stuff.
shops are owned by a married couple.
Oh, I see. So
yeah,
one's
so like
in the tattoo shop, and one's in the
hair salon. So really, we could. I know I could.
Oh, you're talking about on the air. We were just going to have some commentary about it, but listen.
We could. I don't know exactly how we get this to work out.
Those screeches and screams. You know, I'd go for it. I'd go
Why
for
not?
it. So long as Jerry Henriquez, the program director here, doesn't kick me out. So, anyway, put that in your back pocket. Give it some thought.
Definitely.
Be thankful I didn't bum rush you with it
today.
today.
I really like my heart sing.
And we're definitely not going to ask you to do that. I mean, my God, her husband. She came home to her husband. He's like, "You are not going to practice on me." So anyway, Clinton, again, you've got to come back and see me. You were just too much fun. So we're going to sign off for this segment of Local Flavor. This is Joan with the Joan Jerkovich Show. You can watch this video online, raw footage, at joanyerkovich.com.
Bye, everybody.
Cool, dude.
Yes.
Was that fun or what? I told you, I didn't want to give you all the cues of where I was going.
What's funny is some of the guys at the tattoo shop, because they were talking, they make fun of the girl who like does the Brazilians, and they call it
Let it run.
They call it a brozillion.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
Brozillion.
Brozillion, yeah.
Brozillion.
And so like when the girl left early one day and he had walked in on us talking about that. It's funny because like we go into the tattoo shop and they're always looking up some of the weirdest stuff and they're just talking about things and I'm like, why do you guys, how does this even come up in your normal day conversations?
Yeah, exactly.
But they think the same thing when they come over to the salon, so I'm kind of like, oh, never mind, I get it now.
Yeah.
But so they heard us talking about Brazilians and something and they thought it was ridiculous. And then one of them, like the girl left for the day and he was like, hey, will you write down that I want an appointment? And it was like for a massage, because she also does massages.
Right.
And he was like, no, I want a Brazilian. I want a Brazilian. And I'm like, you're not really getting one, but he wasn't serious.
Yeah.
But then I still wrote in her books and she was like,
darn.
Does Bentley really want a Brazilian?
We're going to find him. We need him on the, we need him to do this live on the air.
I'm wondering.
We can't do the video of that.
We can't do a video, or maybe some sort of, but
yeah, we'll have a little barrier thing there.
Definitely.
Right. I think that's so funny. Because, you know, she was at this, I really can't give it all away because it was just an interesting, but she wondered, what is that guy doing here? You know, with a robe on or something like that. And you know this person real well, and I can't mention names and I don't want you to conjecture a name.
Okay, well.
She knows you real well. And I don't want you to mention name because she said maybe relative to her job she might come on and talk about it, but she can't use her name or her salon.
Definitely.
Because I don't think they're offering it at this salon.
Okay.
So I doubt it's being offered anywhere in Salina. So, well, you can go ahead and, yeah. So too much fun. So we'll think of that. That, you know, we'll have to see if
you have to keep, because I will I'll even slyly bring it up to the boys today.
Hello, this is Joan with the Joan Jerkovich Show here on 910 KINA. And we have one of our guests that I've been preempting for quite some time that we're very interested to talk to. His name is Herman. He is here from Salina, and we're going to talk about Nibiru, or Planet X. Well, hello, Herman. How are you today?
I'm fine.
You have had a long history of researching this, haven't you?
Well, it started about 3 years ago when I started studying the works of Zecharia Sitchin.
Right. And 3 years ago you started studying. And
Yeah.
what was he known for?
He's a man that studies bones and reads.
Like an archaeologist?
Yes, archaeologist.
Uh-huh.
And he's one of the few men that have been able to decipher the stone tablets back in the Sumerian and the Akkadian civilization.
Right, right.
And that's where I got the information, and that's what got my interest for the original name of the planet came from. And later on, a friend told me about it, and I put it on the internet. He says it comes under Planet X, which is the same planet.
Right, and let me tell you what I was researching about Planet X, or Nibiru, which is actually spelled Nibiru, but it's actually thought to be one of the largest planetary objects, or a planet about 4 times the size of Earth, correct?
Yeah, that's what I understand.
And the issue with that has so many people, and you are totally not alone, because this is a worldwide event that people are watching, but they're concerned about that actually go on a collision course with Earth, correct?
Well, it depends on what you call a collision. It actually isn't going to hit the Earth, because it's going to be about 8 astronomical units from the Earth, which is 8 times the distance between the Earth and the Sun.
A near miss. So they're talking either a collision or a possible, and you're saying you think it's going to be a near miss.
Well, it is done this is the 120th trip into our atmosphere. So it follows the same course, and it's going to pass between Mars and Jupiter. Because the gravitational pull of the planets, I understand, will pull it in before it starts to go back in its elliptical pattern.
And so, you know, this is something that astronomers have been watching. Certainly the people who are following this, you know, have a huge interest in this, because what we're talking about is the destruction of mankind. If there is this near miss relative to a pole shift or relative to climactic changes with it. So that's why a lot of people are very much wanting to see and predict when it might happen. Is that what you're understanding?
Well, I think it's, we're going to see it escalate at this point, because some people think it's these tsunamis have been caused by this, and the unusual volcanoes which are starting up, and the tornadoes and floods.
And the other thing that I found so interesting, and I know you and I had a little conversation about this, that Planet X was first talked about by a Wisconsin woman named Nancy Leader, who claimed that as a little girl she was actually contacted by gray extraterrestrials called Zetas, and they implanted a communications device in her brain. Now, you said that you weren't familiar with Nancy, but you have heard of the Greys. You've heard of those.
But I never was aware of Nancy.
Right. But that's part of what has, she says that she received these messages from these extraterrestrials and was chosen to warn mankind about either this collision or the near miss we were just talking about, because again of the destruction to mankind. So that's what I was finding in my research, that this goes back into the mid-1990s, that she came out and started talking about her experience.
Well, this actually was discovered by an Australian in 1983.
And that was the one who studied astronomy as well? The Australian?
Yes.
Right,
And
an astronomer.
But he's the one that gave the information to where NASA sent a rocket up to take pictures of it and measure the magnetism and other factors. I'm not so much aware of that, but I just learned what I could pick up on the internet.
Right, and I hear that there's a number of people who even follow Nancy's work, and she has her own website that's called zetatalk.com. It's Z-E-T-A talk.com. And just to tell you again that you're so not alone, Herman, in following this, because her website is translated into 23 different languages. And apparently people all around the world have been watching this and watching and listening to her story. And as you talked about NASA being involved, and you talked about the photographs that were taken, there is some written about there being something of a conspiracy theory related to that. Have they released those photographs to the public, or what do you know about that?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Not
that's
that
what I'm
I'm aware
hearing,
of.
that
Not
they
that I'm-
haven't.
Mhm.
Right. And that's part of what's, kind of got the public a little bit stirred up about it, to see, what's happening and find out more about this Planet X.
Well, to me, there's a plan of God in all of this, being that it's His planet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, to me, that's where the, what's called astronauts first came to Earth, to settle the Earth and prepare for the creation of mankind.
Mm-hmm. Right. Very much of a spirituality component is actually woven into all of what I've been reading about this, which is
Well,
what you're saying is part of God's design, or?
Oh, yes, part of God's plan. Like I mentioned before, this is the 120th trip into our atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
The first time was when the first astronauts came to Earth. And they were running, their atmosphere on the planet was deteriorating, and they needed the gold to atomize and put in their atmosphere to protect it.
Mm-hmm. And you're talking about some sort of a alien visitation, or other being visitation? We don't maybe need to call them aliens.
These were God's sons.
Okay.
These were the sons of God. They had bodies just like us.
Mm-hmm.
And but the only difference is that they were divine, like our Heavenly Father, and they had abilities far beyond what we can imagine. And the things we are just learning now is what they've already had, and farther advanced.
And how does this relate to this whole Planet X thing that people are doing? Is it relating to that?
To what?
How does what you're talking about, these divine beings, relate to the Planet X and the visitation by the gray extraterrestrials?
Well, that is a planet they lived on.
Okay, I see.
That's my understanding.
That's where they came from.
But this is through the works of Zachariah Sitchin that I've learned this. And if you want to learn more about it, you can study one of his books called The Cosmic Code, or The 12th Planet. And there's 9 others that are interrelated. Now, I've studied all of these books by listening to them. It took me a whole year to listen to all the books, 4 or 5 times. And then I called back Planet X for 6 months, and then The Cosmic Code again for 6 months.
Right.
Just to study it, because you see, I cannot read, so I have to result everything to memory.
Because you have diminished vision, we've talked about when I talked with you earlier. So how would we recognize these beings? What you say do they look like humans, or how would someone know that or recognize them?
You remember at the time of the flood, God was going to destroy all these people that had inbred with mankind. They were His sons that had gone bad.
And people being aliens that inbred with mankind?
Yes.
Or from other planets? Okay.
Well, I don't know about other planets, but these were called the sons of God, had inbred with mankind, and God brought the flood. Now He said, in the end days, things will be the same as the time in Noah, time of Noah. Well, at this present time, people are being abducted, women are being impregnated, and men are also being abducted for breeding purposes. And they've come to the point now where they can walk amongst you and you may not even recognize them.
So they look like you and me.
That's right.
I could be sitting with one right here now.
No, I'm not.
You're not one. You're sure you're not. I don't think I am either.
No, I'm not one of them.
Yeah.